Did you ever experience that moment when you're trying to communicate something to someone and it does not reach them? And you feel like, am I not communicating something properly? Or why wouldn't you understand me? Or you have those moments when you're trying to express yourself as best as possible and people are just not receiving the message. And conversations become quite difficult. And it's like, what's going on? That's not okay. How am I supposed to reach those people? What am I saying so wrong? Or what's going on that things are not transferring, the information is not transferring the proper way? Hi, I'm Vlad from ReikiScoop.com. And today we are going to talk a little bit about how to enhance communication and how we can help the transition of information and energy become more harmonious and smoother between you and your, audience or the person who's listening to you. So you can have this better connection, and this can apply in relationships even. This can apply in with family members, with friends, at the dinner table. Regardless, I'm here to offer a bit of insight regarding this subject. So if you're new to the channel or if you find this content interesting, please consider liking, subscribing, and even sharing so that other Reiki enthusiasts can find videos such as this one. With that out of the way, let's move on. Communication, and specifically verbal communication, is one of the best elements that humanity has to progress, has as a tool to progress and to build a better and better civilization. And the better we express ourselves, the better we communicate, the better everything in our lives can be and improve, because as we learn to express ourselves harmoniously, express our feelings, our thoughts, our ideas, the more we can reach the other people that we are talking to, the people that we are engaging with. They can understand us and they can reply to a similar extent as we have expressed it to them. So with that being said, my point is that I also need a bit of communication with my throat, enhancement. We're going to address a couple of symbols, of Reiki symbols, but that's not all. I want to express one thing which is important. Communication comes in very many forms and types and shapes. Communication can be done through writing, through body language, through signs. Communication can be through art, but it can also be through verbal speech. And when you say communication, you mean that you are engaging in a more mental and emotional level. It's not just speaking, like you're speaking about the weather with your neighbor. That's just talking and speaking. Communication means that you're expressing a lot more than just the weather. You're expressing some ideas and thoughts that are a bit more deeper than just general things, general approaches. So, that being said, I know you have found yourself in many circumstances in which you could not express or communicate the way you wanted to communicate things. And even if you did and you thought you did, the person that was listening to you did not receive the message as you would have liked. That's because there are different vibrations between you and that person. Or there is a blockage from your side or from the person that's listening to you. Maybe the person that's listening to you has a blockage to receive the messages that you're offering, or maybe you have a blockage offering the messages that you wish to offer. That's why the symbols that I use for these situations, and I have used them quite a lot, are Seiheki and Shikaso. Seiheki is a traditional Reiki symbol from level 2 Usui Reiki, but Shikaso is also found at level 2 Usui Reiki, but Shikaso is not a traditional Reiki symbol. I do have an article on this symbol and the one that accompanies it, the Shikaseiki, but Shikaso is not a non-traditional symbol channeled by Iris Ishikuro, if I remember correctly, a few generations back. And Shikaso is used for the throat chakra, communication, expressing harmoniously your thoughts, ideas, and emotions. It's accompanied by another symbol which helps you heal the emotional side so that you can properly express your emotions and thoughts and ideas properly. But I'm not going to focus on that. I'm just going to focus on Seiheki and Shikaso. Before we continue, I want to drop a quick reminder for those of you struggling to remember Reiki symbols during sessions. I know how frustrating it is to feel unsure, hesitate, and even second guess yourself instead of focusing on universal life force energy flow. I used to do the same in my early days. I would stop mid-session, scraping the bottom of my mind for symbols and meaning. Of course, I would rarely find clarity in the clutter of information. That's when I started organizing everything on paper, keeping my notes close during practice. Over time, the habit evolved into the Ultimate Reiki Symbols Guide, a practical resource with the attributes and uses of 65 Reiki symbols. It's still the guide I return to when I need insights, inspiration, and the optimum Reiki symbol for a certain situation. So, if you're tired of forgetting Reiki symbols during sessions and want to integrate them in your practice step by step, grab the digital copy on ReikiScoop or the physical book on Amazon. Now, let's return to the video. So, why the two of them? Why are they in combination, the two of them? Because if Shikaso handles the communication part for the throat chakra, Seiheki creates a harmonious layout for an even better circumstance of communicating what you are wishing to communicate, and for a better potential for the person or people that you're communicating to receive the message you are trying to offer. So, whenever you're having a conversation between you and another person that seems to be off, that seems to not go the right way, you can activate Shikaso between you and that person, not on the person themselves, between you and that person. And if you feel like doing that right now and you know the symbol, I don't mind doing it if you want to do it between you and me. So it's in the middle. You have the right to do that because you're not applying it on someone else without their intention. You're not applying it on other people. You're just applying it between you and that person or between you and that group of people. Be careful though, because if you apply this symbol, there's also a lot of truth that is going to come to surface. Maybe some of the truth you're not ready or not meant to hear right then in that moment. But nothing happens without a reason. So think about that when you practice, when you use this symbol. Another symbol that I would use between you and that person or those people is adding Seiheki, not only Seiheki, Shikaso and Seiheki together. And this will create an even more harmonious way of communicating. Because Seiheki is a symbol for harmony. It's for mental and emotional healing, yes, but it's also for a symbol that brings harmony. That's why it can heal the mental and emotional sides, at least to start with. That's why it's a symbol that can be used as a complementary spiritual token for other symbols, in this case for communication. I wouldn't use Seiheki by itself. It has another purpose. That's a different story for another video. Use it together with the symbol, in this case with Shikaso. And now you have a better layout for creating a communicative and harmoniously layout and environment for expressing yourself. And you will notice that also the other person is going to express, or people are going to express a bit more better than before, their ideas and thoughts and emotions. Now, there's another scenario when you are at a dinner table, let's say, or at lunch, and you have a group or a larger group of people, and they are becoming a bit, the things are getting a bit tense, and discussions about politics or religions or stuff like that is going to be a trigger for escalating a small conflict at that table. If you notice this happen, and you are part of the table, you're not just passing by, you are part of that table, you have the right to make peace, so to speak. But you're not going to apply a symbol or any of those people. No, what you're going to do if you want to do something, should you choose to do so, you're not forced or obligated to do that. It's just your choice. You can place above the table, so the people are around, and you can place above the table a Shikaso and a Seiheki, just with intention for harmony and peace and a harmonious communication. And notice what happens, and all those energies that were becoming generated, those low vibrational negative energies that were becoming generated at the table will begin to dissipate, to dissolve gradually, slowly into the light, and people are beginning to communicate a bit better. It's not going to make them best friends forever, but it's going to be considerably different than it was before. Now, there's another scenario in which perhaps you want to enhance the communication with someone who is far away. who is abroad, and your texting and your videos that you're sharing with that person could be better, and you really want to enhance the connection, the communication connection with that person. You can add Honshaze Shonen into the equation, Shikaso, Seiheki, and Honshaze Shonen, and you can visualize the 3 symbols between you and that person and just send universal energy for 10 minutes and see what happens. Well, I'm not sure if they will text you the second after you finish the session, but for sure, a considerably better communication will be present, will manifest, and will not hesitate to manifest quite soon. Because Honshaze Shonen transcends time and space, and then you are sending the frequency of harmony and of communication in harmony and harmonious manner, expressing your feelings and thoughts. And some people will actually will become even more will desire even more to express themselves when you do those symbols between you and them, namely Shikaso and Seiheki. They will start and be like, oh, I wanted to get this off my chest for so long. I wanted to tell you something. And they will be like, oh my God, there is such a relief. They will possibly feel like that, or you might feel like that, because the truth and all those emotional stagnant elements that you wanted to express are gradually coming forward to be expressed. And this is therapy. This is part of therapy. Communication through verbal or through other means is part of therapy. And I do mean communication, not just talking. Even talking has its role. Don't get me wrong, but communication has a deeper essence. Again, it has an emotional and mental component attached to it. When you communicate, everything becomes more clear. The situation between you and the other people or the person in front of you becomes clearer. If the world will learn how to communicate better, because it does matter how you communicate, how you express your feelings and emotions and thoughts. The way you do that matters a lot. One thing is to shout at someone telling them to bring me my shoes, and another to ask politely, please, would you be so kind to bring me my shoes because they're a bit far away and you're closer to them. There's 2 different ways of saying the same idea. So I know it's simple, but believe me that if people would learn how to communicate properly, the world would change for the better. So keep this in mind. Shikaso and Shikaso and Seiheki. For now, we're just going to stick with those 2 symbols. Shikaso and Seiheki between you and another person can really help enhance a harmonious communication for thoughts, ideas, and feelings and intentions, generally speaking. Consider liking, subscribing, and sharing if you enjoy this content so that other Reiki enthusiasts may find videos such as this one. So, blessings to you. Thank you so much for watching until the end, and I'll see you in the next one. Before you go, there's one last thing I want to share to support your Reiki journey. If you let Reiki slip into the background of your life and you're ready to bring it back, this message is for you. I know how it feels to return after a long absence and feel like you've forgotten how to connect. You go through the motions, but questions arise each time you seem to make progress. My solution was to go back to my Reiki teacher and regain my confidence and rhythm in group sessions. But when you don't have the luxury to spend time with like-minded individuals, motivation dries out. That's why I created the 21 Reiki Challenge, a free program where we practice Reiki together for 21 days. Over 2,000 Reiki enthusiasts took on the challenge to rebuild their habit and reconnect with universal life force energy. You don't have to bring Reiki back into your life all alone. Just click the link in the description below, sign up, and let's practice Reiki together. Join the 21 Reiki Challenge to return to Reiki with confidence and support.